Okay, hello. My name is Colin Darwin. I'm going to talk to you today about my purchasing process of a new set of golf clubs. So, just a little bit of background. Uh, I'm going to kind of go through piece by piece of what your rubric said. So, number one, recognition of needs. So, I have a set of 2012 Titleist AP1s as my iron set right now, and they're kind of beat up and worn out. So, I needed a new set of clubs. My thought process for this is they're already kind of beat up. The shafts and heads were already kind of breaking down, and then I needed to re-grip them as well. So it's going to be too expensive to refurbish them. So I figured let's just go ahead and get a new set right away and get going. So research alternatives. I looked through a couple different brands of irons. Mainly I looked at Callaways, Mizunos, Titleists, and PXGs. Some things I was looking at were different shaft types and materials of construction. So mainly graphite versus steel shafts, and then head materials for the irons and construction as well. So whether they're going to be cavity back, solid steel shaft, or solid steel heads, stuff like that. Product comparison. As I said earlier, I looked at different products, or at least different companies that made these golf clubs, and I wanted to see kind of what each company gave me in benefit in both quality of materials and then actual feel of the club that I was using them. Which actually ties into my trial section. So I've been golfing for about 3 years now, so it's kind of second nature for me to use these clubs, and as I'm getting better and better at playing, I have a specific want or feel for what I want my clubs to be able to accomplish and how I actually use my clubs. So I went to the PGA store to try out different club sets from those 4 different brands that I told you about above. I also, my friend actually has a pair of Mizuno irons that I really like, so I actually used his actually on the course when we were playing around a couple weeks ago before I bought the current set that I have. So I both got to try the clubs in the store, and then I got to actually try some on the course playing. For selection and purchase process, as I said, I went to the PGA store to try them out. I was really looking for something that was cost effective while giving me the quality that I need to play golf successfully and competitively. The big one I looked at and the one I wound up choosing was PXG. PXG is a newer company. It's not nearly as old as some of the more traditional brands. It was started by a couple of retired military members that poached a bunch of Ping, which is another company, poached a couple of their designers and crafters to create a whole new set of irons that are super high quality, super high speed clubs. The main reason I picked this one in particular, besides the overall quality of the club, which is absolutely immense, probably the best irons you can get on the market, is that they offer a 50% discount to military, which is huge because their golf club sets, if you get a full set, are about $5,000, and 50% of that's $2,500, and I didn't get all the clubs are offered, so it wound up being a lot less than that as well. So still a little bit more than I wanted to spend, but considering the quality that I had and that I was going to be getting this as a gift for myself for graduating, as I continue on in my military career, I wanted to get this now, and I felt comfortable getting that in particular. Transport. So I purchased these online because you could only do the military discount online. You can't do it in a store or anything like that. So purchased it online, and then they're shipped to my house from there. Usage. This will be my new set of irons, so I'm going to use these every time I play golf now. So as I said, every single time I play golf, I'll be using these clubs, or at least these irons, as well as my other golf clubs that I have that are not irons, like my drivers, my putters, my wedges. And these will last me at least a decade. Excuse me, at least a decade, hopefully more, depending on how long these last. Because it is a newer company, there's not a whole lot of research out there or data that shows how long these do last. But since they are very high quality, they should last at least a decade, hopefully more. Disposal. After I wear them out or break them, I'll replace them as needed. I don't really play that violently to where I'll be breaking irons. But if I do wear them out over time, hopefully past that decade point, then I'll reevaluate what I would like to do and how I'd like to replace those. Satisfaction. Haven't had the clubs for that long, honestly. I only had them for a couple weeks. But from the few rounds that I have played, I absolutely love them. They work really well. I love how they feel in my hand when I'm swinging, and I love the way the ball comes off the club and how it plays. Purchase and brand or repurchase and brand loyalty. So as I said, PXG is it was founded by retired military members, and as a current military member, that plays a huge role in my decision process. I really respect what they've done and how they've kind of changed the golf game, so to speak. They have revolutionized iron technology a little bit, and have, I think, created a great product. So I'll continue playing with these until they break or wear down, and then if I love them at that point in my life, I'll consider buying a new set. So a couple key terms I wanted to look at and how this influenced my decisions. So key term number one, production differentiation. So some people may look at irons and won't really be able to tell just looking at them how different they are, but they really are different. Companies try to offer slightly different products based on their quality. It's like product lines. So you'll have a cheaper set of irons and then maybe middle range and then high range, maybe more than that, to kind of conform to different golfers' tastes and preferences based off their skill level or maybe their financial status. Maybe they can't afford the highest range clubs, so they have to go for the lower range. So a lot of companies do this to be able to capture as big of a market as they can for each individual club type, which kind of goes into my next key term, market segmentation. So like I said, they're going to try to break these. They're not going to just have like one set of irons that'll go across the whole market, because for whatever reason, you won't be able to sell that one type of club to every single purchaser of these irons. So they will segment the market to try to have different products that meet different needs based off what the market bears and what the consumers prefer. Key term 3 is going to be e-commerce. So as I said, I bought these clubs online, but I do strongly believe that golf clubs and golf in general is one of those segments of the market that you actually need a brick and mortar store to actually sell more of them. I just personally think that I went into the store to be able to get my hands on the clubs and feel them before I purchased them. I think it's very similar to buying a car. People don't really like to buy cars online without test driving them first. Same concept with these clubs. I wanted to test try each individual club to see how they felt individually, and then make my decision based off that to purchase whichever club I preferred, which ultimately wound up being the PXG clubs. My aha moment. So product research was crucial in selecting these clubs. I spent a lot of time basically researching what the different materials were used, how they were made, the history behind the companies even, because I did think that all those were important to me when I was deciding which club I wanted to purchase or which set of clubs. In the past, I really haven't done this a whole lot unless it's been like with a really expensive or important purchase, like my car, some of my guns, stuff like that. I'll do a lot of bit of research, but this really clicked it in my head to where, and as I said this earlier, that certain clubs are, you look at them and you can't really tell what the difference are, but you look at the science behind the clubs and how they're made and just the different types of grooves that are put into the irons themselves to create different types of spin. It's crazy how different they are, and that really kind of clicked in my head to where you can't just look at a product and say, all right, this one's better than this one. You have to actually do the research, see what's so different about each one, even though they look just the same, and how those differences will differentiate a product between another product. So I learned a lot from this class, really enjoyed it, and this really helped my decision-making process when when purchasing these clubs as a consumer, and it really opened my eyes to that decision-making process from a consumer point of view, and how marketers can market these products, because nobody buys golf clubs all the time. It's once in a decade type thing, so it's very interesting how they do that. Thank you.